my my brands. But when we fast forward back then, the only thing we knew about brands was Spike Lee's movie. Spike.
And I remember your cousins, Kevin, and the male cousins like, yo, this boy done lost his mind. You went where?
I don't know. I don't know how they got there, and that's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know how my brands got there. I know my cousins may have thought they put hot brands.
Okay, rewind. I'll rephrase it. So I remember when everyone did see your brands, they were like, have you lost your mind? But again, we're in New York. They haven't been exposed to that lifestyle to know truly the meaning and the passion behind it for you.
True indeed.
Like I see your crescent on your blazer, which is your Omega Psi Phi crescent, love it. And then I see your sweater, Delta Sigma Theta. I know that there is the calls. Is that what you call them? The call.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to call it. And it's not a crescent. Yeah. It's my shield.
Your shield.
Yes.
See,
that's okay. That's okay.
So certain clubs, golfing clubs, they call it a crescent. I think on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Carlton had crescents.
Yes.
Just assume it was a crescent. It's okay. So I think
it's okay.
Advised it is. My apologies. His shield.
Thank you.
On his blazer. These are letters?
Yes, letters. I have my shield here too.
Okay, and her shield. So this is the year it started, and it's just an informational.
Yeah.
So now, when you walk somewhere, and let's say, I'm not going to even ask because I know the answer. You go somewhere, and a brother across wherever has on the colors, and you see, I've seen you just start barking. And
have you seen that?
I have seen that. We're not editing that out.
Okay.
Is that to say, and that was years ago.
Right.
That's years ago. Is that like, it's just a passion, like if you see a family member across somewhere, like, hey, that's a brother of mine calling out to the brotherhood.
Correct. I mean, it could be at a party, it could be at a football game. Mm-hmm. That was in my younger years. Now I practice a little bit more discretion because I'm older. Mm-hmm. But just to say that, I mean, I've traveled throughout the country and I've been overseas. And one of the great things about, Greek life or fraternity is that, some of the benefits is that you can, through strangers.
Anywhere.
People that, you go anywhere and you network and people open their homes to you.
And I will say, not to cut you off, before I got my letters, I was the daughter of the bros. So I went to high school, my track coach took care of me. He was also the bros. He took care of me just off of the strength, or even wherever I go. You remember we were in St. Thomas, and so they take care of not only you but your family. Okay. Yeah.
Well, and just to cast the net a little wider, in corporate America, the years that I spent working in corporate America, and of course when you're working certain jobs, and you're one of a few, African Americans, and there's a couple of things that when you're in a work environment that you look, I mean, obviously people tend to, go to people that are like them. And obviously when you're black, there's no hiding the fact that you're black.
Who you going to.
So the one thing you want to know, when you're dealing with a fellow African American in the workplace is, try to find out where the commonalities are. And a couple of my checks, and not that I'm being judgmental, one of them is obviously, are you Greek? Did you pledge? And where did you go to school? And if not that, then we just talk. We're just trying to find commonality. Where'd you grow up? But a lot of times, whether it be having, being from an historically black college, you kind of trying to find a way to work with somebody, or whether or not they're Greek. And I've benefited in many instances, whether it been a promotion, whether it been, tickets or just some favors.
It's a brother,
favors.
Looking out for your family.
So,
and it's across the board for all D9 organizations.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Everybody looks out for
But even when you just talk about an HBCU, I mean, the funny thing is, and no disrespect, because everybody, right now in this current climate, it seems that, our historically black colleges and universities are very sexy, sexier than they've ever been.
Flourishing.
But now it seems like the genius and the greatness of the HBCUs is going out. But I can honestly say, as much and as good as HBCU was for me and for Cydney, it's not for everyone. for one reason or another.
Right.
One of the things as a parent and as a graduate of a historically black college and institution, one of the things that I made sure that my children, I said, you must, it wasn't even, you have to apply to at least, 2 historically black colleges and universities. And then maybe, then you can apply to whatever PWI, but that has to be an option. And it was my job as a parent to make sure that I take you. I took them to homecomings, or that I give you the exposure to see what this is all about, and then even give you an exposure at the white institutions. This one here.
Yeah, my situation was slightly different.
Right.
I actually attended a junior college first, my freshman and sophomore year, so I got the best of both worlds. It was very different. But I transferred to the first HBCU, Lincoln University, and the experience coming from a small private junior college in New Rochelle, New York, transferring to a bigger school where there's homecoming and spring fling and all these other things. The culture, the family environment, even now when I go anywhere else and I'm wearing my Lincoln gear or whatever, they're like, oh, it's just different. And it was honestly the best decision that I've made. My sister went to University of Virginia, and I went to visit her before I transferred to Lincoln, and it was her experience was very different.
Okay.
I can't speak on her, but my experience there, it's smaller. The black student body is smaller. She still had that family-oriented aspect. But the way homecoming and the other events are big for us, and football games, it's not the same. The culture is different.
But everybody has to find
what works for them.
Just like when you're looking for your fraternity or sorority, even in college, you have to find your comfort and your personality where you think you would better excel.
Right.
And I think that goes with that.
If I may, just to add on to what she said. Once again, speaking of Taylor's opportunity at the University of Virginia, I knew that was a good situation for her, just based on the experiences that she had as a high school student, where she was academically, but more so, I just knew that institution, having the history that it did with African Americans, that was a good place, and I was actually one of the driving forces for her to go there, even though institutions like Xavier in Louisiana and Howard in Washington, D.C. were options that she truly had to attend as a student, as an undergrad. My son Michael, who's an accomplished tennis player here in New York, had opportunities to attend some of the largest universities, Kentucky, College of Charleston, this goes on and on. But after making a visit to Florida A&M University as a competitive tennis player, he saw that there was a fraternal bond amongst the tennis players at the historically black college. So that was the reason why he decided to pretty much, not take advantage of the schools that I aforementioned, and decided to go on to Florida A&M University. And his 4 years were very fruitful. Actually, it was more than 4, like his father. But it was a great time. And now he's a Rattler, and as a result of being a Rattler, his brothers all throughout the country, he's able to go visit them and have the same type of relationships that we do.
One of the things that I know with you from community service, like I said, growing up, you've always been active in sports and this and that, and that's always been your heart passion. You're always out there, you're always helping, but you're always bettering yourself through sports, through community. And to see, like I know you mentioned your son, tennis, right? Very well in his field. But I also know both your daughters. Everybody plays tennis. I know the girls that did soccer. And I know when you went to Lincoln, you like avid soccer player, great soccer player, and you played for them. I know you had a few injuries along the way that slowed you down some. But it goes to speak for, this is just a small part of their lives and who they are. They said they spoke a lot about community service, and make your, like, when you watch this, if you are interested in college and interested in being a part of these institutions, really pay attention to what they do, because that has a lot to do with how they got where they are. It's not just about, I'm at college, I'm going to do my schoolwork, and I'm going to show interest in this. And it takes a lot more than that. It takes, before you get there, who are you? What are you adding to this institution? Why should they pick you over someone else? You can be pretty, you can be a number, and yes, you're in college, and so is everyone else. What did you do before you got here? Like, don't just become interested once you get to the institution and think we're going to be like, oh, what did you do before you got here? And what are you doing while you're here? And how are you an asset is my takeaway.
Right. Sure indeed.
So I would like both of you, and we'll start with you, to give a message of hope to someone who may be applying to college, even if it's not going to be a part of the pledge process, but a part of how to manage and balance in school.
And trying to take
right, and to make their self known, but to get the most out of that experience.
So I would say, once you do enter your freshman year, take the time out to enjoy and establish yourself in school and focus on your grades and figuring out where your place is on campus and what works for you. Don't think about Greek life as about, you can observe from afar, but kind of just really join other clubs. There are many other clubs on campus that will truly give you a different experience and really ingrain yourself in whatever school you're in. More towards your sophomore year, your junior year, that's when you can start to take interest in these organizations and really kind of do your research and see what's best for you. But the most important part is there's other things to experience on a college campus other than Greek life. And I think that's where people kind of get it twisted. Mm-hmm. So there are many other, like I was a student athlete. I was a part of SAC, which was the Student Athletic Association. I went to many other different club meetings, stuff like that. So I think that's the most important part, and make the best of your experience in school, and then take the time out to see what organization may best fit for you.
Truth be told, I mean, just to add to that, I mean, as you can see, at the heart of everything that she said, it was service. You know, being service-minded, being a service leader, and being a true servant, you know, to the community is what's at the heart of, you know, being a student at an HBCU or even at a predominantly white institution. Because if you do have an interest in becoming a part of, you know, one of the Divine Nine organizations, that's going to be the first thing that they look at. You know, are you an individual that is of service? What are you involved in? Who are you? What are you doing? And exactly why should we allow you to come into the fold of our brotherhood or our sisterhood?
Right.
So I want to thank you both for coming on the show, enlightening people with the history, the background, and part of the process. It was important. I had questions that I wasn't fully aware of that I got checked on. And just as I'm sure other people have questions, so I hope this helps someone else. But I appreciate you both. I know you do a lot of community service, and thank you for sharing your views.
Thank you.
This is Something's Coming Up. Please continue to follow, share, like, and subscribe on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you have a topic or a story that you'd like to share with me, reach me in my inbox and I'll get back to you. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
No, but can y'all just do one with, you don't get me in it, but
Are we doing a picture, a video?
do,
Or just,
okay, wait, he'll reel back in, wait. So, are you allowed to show me your, what do you call it when you do your hand signs? What are those called?
my mid?
What is it?
Our mid.
Okay, and each division has their own.
Yes.
Okay, so let me see yours. Okay, and what does that signify? Edit that out. Okay, and then she's like, that ain't a question, girl. It's just a thing. Okay, and then you have, is yours a mid or is yours called something different?
Mine is called something different.
What is yours called? Edit. You two are so silly. No, it's your question. No, because I don't know if it's like
I know.
Okay, wait. Let's start that whole section over.
I was allowed.
So okay.
Is that a mid? I'm like, it's not a mid.
So can I say hand signs?
Yeah. Just what's
Identify.
your? Yeah. What?
Identify.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. So I know from being on campus at Virginia State, and even sometimes I see you do it, or I see in pictures, you have your hand identifiers. What is that? Let me see. And they do it proudly.
Yes.
Okay. And then you have a saying that goes with that or a sound that you do?
Yes. Would you like me to do
I
that?
would like you to do them both.
Oh, okay. Oh!
And then you have to purse your lips like that.
Oh, no, that's just my ending. Is it? Oh! And then that's where the smile comes in.
Okay. Like it's me.
Yes.
And then you have a hand identifier, and I know you bark.
Yes, we do. Are you asking me not to bark?
I would like you to do your bark and
Well,
your hand gesture.
These are the hooks. We throw those up. These are the omega hooks. And then, of course, when you from New Side, we go, "Hooray!" And then for the bros around the country, "Arr, arr, arr, arr." And you gotta have the look. You gotta give it a nice grit. That's called a grit.
Yes.
That's what it is. That's how the bros do.
And that
Because
we
we
have it
nasty.
both. Oh, okay. Can y'all both go together?
Arr, 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 arr.
Father-daughter team, this is something's coming up. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.